On TV, online, and on your smartphone. This is Ticker News.
The Green Edition, in association with the Root brand, inspiring greatness with natural solutions for people to reach their highest and healthiest potential.
Hello and welcome back to The Green Edition, exploring hot topics and challenges in the world of business, economics and health today. Now, new testing on a variety of popular branded sports bras and athletic wear has revealed high levels of BPA, a chemical compound that's used to make certain types of plastic and can lead to harmful health effects such as asthma, cardiovascular disease and obesity. Now, to share more of his thoughts about this is Clayton Thomas, the Root brand CEO. Now, Clayton, let's dive straight in. Why can we find BPA prevalent in activewear? I mean, we tend to avoid it in plastics, but why is it in fabrics?
Well, the textile industry is actually one of the greatest polluters of the planet on an ongoing basis, because we've gone away from using, the traditional fabrics, at least in many of the developed countries, right? Linen, cotton, wool, even hemp, these natural compounds, are much easier to work with, and they don't use as many chemicals in the creation of the process. But these polyesters and synthetics and spandex and such that have become so popular, especially in women's wear, use a lot of chemicals in the creation of the textile themselves, of the fabric. But then they're treating those fabrics as well with additional, to keep them fresh, when they're on the rack, to make sure that when they're shipped, they're not getting mildewy, or they're not having any issues until they get sold. And you can't wear clothes off the rack anymore because they're sprayed with all these things that you have to wash them out. But a lot of the stuff you can't just wash out. And the primary region where most of these chemicals are sprayed is in the crotch region, right? And unfortunately for women, most women now are wearing these yoga pants and different clothes, but they don't wear underwear with them. So you're getting direct contact with all these different chemicals and all these different pollutants. And, it's warm, you sweat a lot, so your body's absorbing all of those chemicals. So you're a victim, literally, of your environment.
So we're looking into women's wear specifically. I mean, even through activewear, through underwear, through bras, using whether it's spandex, and that includes BPA and there's plastic fibers. Well, what are the effects of that and using that in those fabrics for women as well? I mean, we look into the importance of, selecting the right fabrics. So what's the ethos behind that in terms of the effects of wearing them?
Well, you'll find, an increase in risk of cancer and hormone issues. And, you have to look at the location of where the primary focus has been found in a lot of these toxins, and it's in the primary reproductive region for women. But anything you put on your skin, if you're talking about wearing a sports bra or any type of other compression wear, anything that's on your skin, if it's leaching or if stuff is coming off of it, your skin's going to absorb about 80% of what you put on it. And so anything that's toxic or polluted, if it's on your skin, is actually going to pollute the rest of you. It's just the time it takes for the absorption of some of that, and then the impact as the additional body burden comes in, because your body can store a little bit of things, right? That's where fat comes in, is if small amounts of a pollutant come in, it might identify it. You might be able to flush it out because it'll be seen as something that's not natural, not normal. It can immediately be flushed. But if it's consistent, small exposure, your body doesn't know what to do with it, and it'll just start storing it. It'll store it in fat. It'll store it in your liver and other tissues, and this is where the overwhelming burden starts to come in. So you've got to make sure what you can to get away from it.
Yeah, so how can we avoid it? Are we looking into buying polyester? It's a cheaper material, and looking into, in a global sense that we're in a global cost of living crisis where women are opting for the cheaper options, where they do have the particles of BPA in those fabrics, how can we avoid it in the sense of not being exposed to that? I mean, we can choose to opt for cotton or other fabrics, but they could be more on the pricier side. So what are we leaning towards of, in that sense of, are we choosing money over our health in this situation because of the effects of, using BPA that is in fabrics as well now?
It's kind of understanding the aspect that looking good and feeling good actually can be costly and expensive, right? Because there's a difference between the two. That can we get away from it? I don't think entirely, right? Because a lot of these fabrics are very, very popular. They're very useful. They're functional. They've provided an opportunity to change women's wear, right? I mean, if we looked at 5 to 10 years ago and thinking that 40 to 50% of women outside would just be wearing stretch pants, you'd think we were in the 80s again. But I don't think that's going to change. So what you have to do is you have to become aware of what's done. So if you're going to get these fabrics, when you buy them, you want to probably end up washing them multiple times, when you bring them home from the store, so you can try to wash out as much as you can. But then it's a matter of what you're going to do to take care of yourself, knowing that, our environment is completely polluted. We do a lot to make sure that we, continually address that in different ways. So now we know that the clothes you're wearing are also polluted in different aspects, and they're polluting you. Are you going to walk around naked? Maybe on the weekends. Can we wear linen all the time? Nope, that doesn't work. So we're going to be wearing things that can create a little different exposure for us, and you don't want to change those. So what you need to do is plan accordingly and do things to take care of yourself while you're being exposed to those things.
Yeah, now the Watchdog said that its investigations have found BPA only in polyester-based clothing containing in spandex. But do we want brands to reformulate their products, to remove BPA? And is that more of a question of, well, is this coming down to larger companies that are making activewear, really popular branded companies, to strip back onto their formula into creating those fabrics and to exclude BPA from that? Who does this responsibility lie upon when looking into this?
Well, you'd hope that manufacturers are going to, have their customers' health at some point of the forefront of what's important to them, because if you kill off your customers, they're not going to continue to buy products from you. But the other side is where a lot of these fabrics are created. They're not created in the United States, so they're created in areas of the world that are using a lot of chemicals, and they're using a lot of different solutions to create these fabrics. So can you put pressure on manufacturers? Yeah. Is it going to happen? Maybe, because look at the aspect of what happens if they don't do it. Is it going to change the cost, of what things are going to be? So you really have to work to take care of yourself, because there's things that you can control, there's things that I can control, and there's things that are beyond our control. You have to control the things that you can control. You can control what you're doing to expose yourself to these things, and you can also control what you're doing to get all of these things out. And I would argue, amongst all of it, that is the most important point, because you can't change the rest of the world. We're not going to do it overnight. So that means everything that's been produced, everything that's being produced for probably the next 3 to 5 years is all going to be done the same way. So what are you going to do to take care of yourself? If you're on a plane and you lose pressure, the first thing you do is put your oxygen mask on. You don't look to help other people. You have to take care of yourself first. So we can't be of service to others without first taking care of ourselves, and you have to keep that in mind.
Absolutely. And now when we're looking into, obviously, workout wear, we have women's workout wear, but we also have men's. Does this also affect men's health as well, in terms of, whether they're shorts that they're using, or if they're using tighter leggings or t-shirts? Does that also affect, their health when we're looking into this issue as well with BPA?
It's an interesting aspect of the difference between men's and women's wear. I mean, there's a lot of chemicals, that are used in the creation of fabrics for men, but what you don't see is some of the same fabrics that are these big culprits in women. that men don't typically wear. Right, a lot of the compression wear you will see in sports performance, you'll see different compression wear, so you are going to have some of those concerns. But the big issue for women is all of this endocrine disruption and these other components that these toxins do. And you see women not only wearing them for workouts like men would do, but women are using them for and wearing these items for leisure wear, for workout wear, but also daily wear. So while for men it might be limited exposure, for a lot of women it's consistent, persistent daily exposure, which is going to create a havoc on people. And you have to look at these things as not just being independent, like BPA for what it does. You have to combine the BPA with this other, list of toxic soup that exists in your body, right? So it's not, oh, there's this one thing and it's going to do this, and 1 + 1 = 2. You have to understand that it's 1 plus, a million equals 100 million, because these other toxins in your body will actually compound the effects of other toxins that you're being exposed to. Or you might just reach the tipping point where your body just says that's enough. Here's an autoimmune disorder, here's cancer, here's a bunch of other issues that you get to deal with because it can't handle it anymore.
Absolutely. Well, it was great speaking to you today, Clayton. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Benet.
Well, that's the program for now. And of course, whilst the Root Brands is a presenting sponsor of this program, all opinions and views in this segment are of course general nature and not to be taken as medical advice. Now, let's thank again to CEO, founder and wellness expert Clayton Thomas for joining us on the Green Edition. You can catch up on this program at tickernews.co. I've been your host, Benet Ozdemir, and I'll see you very soon.